I'm Dr. Michael Catchpole, and my guest is Dr. Sarah Newth. Dr. Newth is a cognitive behavioral therapist at the North Shore Stress and Anxiety Clinic. Dr. Newth, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Dr. Catchpole.
Dr. Newth, generalized anxiety disorder in children is what?
Kids with generalized anxiety disorder worry about the same kind of things as most kids do, things like their pets, their family, school, homework, even minor matters. But their worry is chronic, it's excessive, and once they get started, it's very tough for these kids to shut that worry down.
What sort of signs and symptoms do we see in these children?
Well, I think parents should keep their eye out for physical symptoms especially. So things like headaches, muscle tension, stomach aches, irritability, being fidgety, those kinds of things. These kids also tend to have a lot of trouble falling asleep at night and may cope by getting a lot of reassurance, avoiding, or even being really perfectionistic.
All right. Let's get into home management strategies then. Parents, caregivers want to be helping these children. What sorts of things should they be doing?
Well, I think the good news is there's lots of things that we can do to help these kids. A great starting place is helping a child become educated about anxiety, what it is, and how it works.
Okay. And then more specifically, what techniques can you put in this child's sort of repertoire of abilities?
A great technique that gives kids a real sense of control is teaching them relaxation strategies, like controlled breathing, where you help your child learn how to breathe in slowly through their nose, wait a few seconds, and then breathe out slowly through their mouth, wait a few seconds, and then repeat the whole cycle.
And this is something you would train them at several times a day?
Yeah, practice it on a daily basis a couple of times a day, and then encourage your child to start using it across all the different situations that make them feel anxiety.
Now, is this something they can combine with muscle relaxation?
That's a great idea, especially for kids who have trouble falling asleep, because you can use that muscle relaxation not only during the day, but at nighttime. So you want to help your child identify some major muscle groups like shoulders, arms, legs, and then you want to tighten up those muscles as tight as you can, and then let that tension go while you use your controlled breathing. Very, very powerful and easy to use technique.
Other things one can combine with those two techniques?
Well, kids with generalized anxiety disorder tend to be really negative and pessimistic in their thinking, and we can really help them out by teaching them how to identify those upsetting, scary thoughts, and then look at the facts and come up with some realistic, calming kinds of statements that kids can use when they're in those scary situations. And if you write those down on some coping cards, tuck them in their pocket, put them in their backpack, keep them in the car, and then you can encourage your child to read those through as a way of calming themselves.
So an anxious child then going to a sleepover, for example, all of a sudden has got breathing, muscle relaxation, the cards.
And it's going to make it much more likely that your child is going to be willing to do another strategy, which is absolutely key, which is learning to gradually master all of those situations they've been avoiding or are scared of. So sit down with your child, brainstorm a list of all those situations, rank them from maybe least challenging to the most challenging, and then set up some kind of reward system that makes it a fun challenge, and start practicing the first one, and then once you've mastered that, praise and reward, and then move on to the next one.
Dr. Newth, thank you for a very helpful and very informative interview.
You're welcome.
My guest has been Dr. Sarah Newth from the North Shore Stress and Anxiety Clinic.